Hi and welcome back to my channel. My name's Erica. Today is release day for the Happy Granny quilt. So I want to start off by saying this is not going to be a tutorial, but I did want to start doing these short little extra videos to show you guys whenever I release a new quilt pattern. Back when I did my first quilt trunk show, a lot of you commented that you didn't even realize that I was a quilter. And I do have a ton of different quilt patterns they release regularly, and so I wanted to start sharing them here on YouTube for you guys. So today is launch day for the Happy Granny quilt. That is the quilt hanging right here on the wall behind me. This quilt is so fast and easy to make, and it's definitely beginner friendly. Now, like I mentioned, I won't be doing a tutorial here on YouTube, but if you've ever purchased any of my previous patterns, you will know that they come in full color. They have step-by-step written instructions, but they also have step-by-step graphic illustrations to go with each step. And so they're super easy to follow. So this one, of course, is called Happy Granny, and I actually named it after my husband's grandma who passed away earlier this past week, actually. And she was literally the happiest person I've ever met. She always had a smile on her face. She was always excited to see us, and I've never met anyone who didn't love her. So in her honor, I am naming this quilt the Happy Granny quilt. This quilt finishes at 68 by 68 inches, so it's a pretty good size. It's perfect to hang on my wall behind me, but it's also a great throw to put on your couch. It features oversized, kind of chunky granny square blocks, and then of course little hearts in between, so I thought the name plus the design was just perfect to go together. For this particular quilt, I used a mix of my stash. This is charm pack friendly for the granny square blocks, but I used a mix of squares from my stash. They're all Bonnie and Camille scraps. Some of them are from their little Ruby line, which was released a few years ago. Some were from Vintage Picnic, and some were from a couple other lines that I just had laying around in my stash. I think they went together really, really well. For the center blocks of the granny squares, I put a low volume print, which I think went really nicely, but I think it would also look really cute if you did a light pink print in there as well. And then the alternating blocks are these cute little heart blocks. They are very simple to put together, and I chose a lighter pink for those just so that they would kind of stand out a little bit differently than the granny square blocks. And then just to give it a little bit of extra flair around the outside, I did a kind of a ribbon border. Now you can kind of change this up, and the pattern actually has an alternate layout. You make the border the same way, but you just lay the blocks a little bit differently, and it gives it a whole different look. So I chose to do the ribbon layout, but the pattern does give you an alternate border that you can do if you don't like the ribbons. And of course, I did a cute gingham binding on this because who doesn't love a gingham binding? Again, this was a Bonnie and Camille print. Now, if you stopped by my blog yesterday, I did have a little bit of history on the granny square block itself. And of course, it's been around for pretty much as long as anyone can remember, but it was originally designed as a crochet pattern block. And it wasn't even really a formal pattern. People were just using up their scraps. And so the granny square kind of started. So you have a different color for each round as you're crocheting the granny square block. Well, the quilt block then was born out of that. And one of the things that I found when researching, which I thought was kind of cool, I'm not 100% sure if it's true, but regardless, I thought it was kind of a cool story. The granny square is said to represent the grandma and her family. So the center of the block represents the grandma, the four surrounding blocks represent her children, and then the blocks surrounding that represent her grandchildren. And so I thought that was really cool. Kind of gave this quilt an extra added meaning since it is named after Jason's grandma. The other thing I wanted to show you is that my February truck of the month also released, and I think this one is super cute. And of course, everything's all hearts this month because February is coming. So this one is available in my store. And then the February cross stitchy truck of the month also released as well. So the quilty truck of the month and the stitchy truck of the month are both available in my store now, and I will put a link in the description box below where you can get both of those as well as the Happy Granny quilt. So thank you so much for joining me today. If you like this type of video, make sure to thumbs up so that I know to keep doing them. I'd like to do special little shorts just to show you guys all of the different patterns that I'm coming out with that may or may not be releasing here on YouTube as tutorials. So if you like that, make sure to thumbs up this video, and I'll make sure to do more of them. Thank you so much for joining me for today's video, and I will see you next time.